Well, hello, welcome back to my channel. Joshana here to talk about some friggin' books. I apologize in advance. I don't like to give like little disclaimers usually, but you might be able to hear some background noise. I hope that having the microphone means that you won't hear it predominantly, but my neighbors are throwing like a birthday party for their screaming child. And they're out there like blowing up a bouncy house and dragging tables around in the courtyard, and the child's screaming randomly. So apologies in advance if you can hear that in the background, but I need to film. So this is kind of a long overdue for me, because I like to do my recent wrap-ups with about like 4 to 6 books like maximum for each one, just because I talk too much. So this one though, I have quite a few. Well, I guess I have like 7 or 8. At any rate, let's just get into it. These are some books that I have read semi-recently. The first one that I have not talked about, I think I talked about it in a comment somewhere. I don't have it. It was most of these I don't have. Library book, and it was Immortal Reign by Morgan Rhodes. And this is the final book in the Falling Kingdom series. And I felt like it was kind of the series, it's fantasy, it's YA fantasy. It's one of those series where, for me personally, and I've had friends who've read it say the same thing, it's like a teenage soap opera type thing, but like, you know, it's kind of not great, but you also just think it's kind of fun. Like, everybody's dating everybody, and then they break up, and then they start dating, and this and that, and oh my gosh, who's in love now? And there's all these different kingdoms, and all the different princes and princesses, and sorcery happening, and magic, and whatever. It's just a lot. And I enjoyed the series throughout until the last book I felt like was kind of filler. And then this book, the final book of the series, it felt like a filler book. It was kind of a disappointing finale. On my 1 to 10, I gave this a 5.3, which is 3 Pusheenicorns. And then I started Trial by Fire by Josephine Angelini. And this is book 1 of some series, and I had book 2, and that's why I listened to this on audiobook. I DNF'd it though. I talked about this in my small unhaul. I got like maybe 40 to 50% of the way through or something like that. It was just a very like, the world was just like a whole bunch of shit thrown together. Then, also from the library, I completed An Easy Death by Charlaine Harris, and this was one that I went into the library to pick up a book that I had on hold, and I just saw this one on the thing, and I was like, hey, let me check that out. Because I've read, obviously, the Sookie Stackhouse series, because I love it and I own it, by Charlaine Harris. And then she has a few other series that I've just never read. I don't know why. I probably should try them out though. I just never had interest. But this is a new series, and it's like a cowgirl. It's like a Wild West dystopian. So it's set back in the day. Oh, I can't remember which president. It's some president from back in the day. There's cars. But this president gets assassinated, and just like all hell breaks loose. The country gets split up into different, some of it goes back to Great Britain. Fucking Russia comes over from Alaska, comes down into Canada, takes over part of the United States, like the West Coast and stuff. Canada takes a large portion of the North and Midwest. And then Mexico takes back a bunch of the South. So there's very little left of like the US, and it's just kind of lawlessness. And our main character, Gunny Rose, she lives in like, it's like a Wild West town, but there are cars. They're just not very like popular, or not a lot of people have them because you have to like have money to be able to fix it. So it's like a dystopian, but it's also like historical fiction. And there's magic. So it sounds like a lot, but it worked really well for me. I thought it was really fun. It's adult. There's some sex, not like a lot, and there's death like a lot, like right off the get-go, like pretty horrific, like gruesome deaths also. But yeah, our main character, Gunny Rose, I just love her. She helps like smuggle people across the borders, and she's the person that like is protecting them. She's very good with a gun. She's not the most like soft and like talkative character, but she's also not like a bitchy, like hard ass, whatever. She just has to survive. So she's just a little tough, a little rough around the edges. So yeah, I really liked it. It was really fun. Lots of action happening, tons of action happening. On my 1 to 10, I gave this 7.5, which is 4 Pusheenicorns. And then the TisTheSeasonAthon started, and I completed 2 books. One of them, though, wasn't really for the TisTheSeasonAthon. I just read it, really. It was my Pusheenicorn Pick of the month, Fallen, by Lauren Kate. And this was better than I anticipated. It was from like 2005 or something, or no, maybe 2009. At any rate, a while ago. And it's very much like YA, paranormal, romance, nonsense. And I was anticipating not liking it, but I actually didn't mind it. Like, of course, I don't want to say of course, but it wasn't like one of the best books I've ever read, or like, I'm not like, oh my God, Fallen is so great, but I also was like not mad at it. It was fine. Like, I'll probably read the next one. On my 1 to 10, I gave that 5.83, which is 3 Pusheenicorns. Finally, a book I do have is Santa Paws by Nicholas Edwards. I read this for the TisTheSeasonAthon. It's just a children's book. It's like a scholastic chapter book. I read it when I was a kid. That's why I own it, and I remember just loving it, and it's so cute. It's about a dog that's like abandoned. He's a puppy, and his family gets like picked up by like the shelter, or the local shelter, whatever the pound, and they get adopted. But then he's running around town like saving people and just being awesome, and, like around the holiday season, and it's so freaking cute, and I love it. On my 1 to 10, I gave this 7.16, which is 4 Pusheenicorns. And then I started at the beginning of the TisTheSeasonAthon, Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. I did not complete it. I read like 300 some pages of it. My total pages read for the TisTheSeasonAthon was like 1,111, so 11111. That's how many pages I read. But I really only completed 2 books, which is whatever, it's fine. And then the Very Merry Readathon started, and again, I didn't read nearly as much as I thought I was going to. It technically ended today. I probably could have read another book, but I also, I don't know, I've been doing stuff and I have to leave in a little bit, so I probably wouldn't have been able to finish. But the first one was The Mitten by Jan Brett. Again, nostalgia. I read this as a kid and just love it. It's just a picture book, a kid's picture book. It's a Ukrainian, I think, folk tale. I didn't give it a rating because, I don't know, like 4 Pusheenicorns, whatever. And then I finished, way sooner than I thought I was going to, Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. And I loved it. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've said before, it's pretty much just the world of Ice and Fire, which is like a historical account of Westeros and Essos and all the lands of Game of Thrones. But it's the Targaryen section, and it's just way more in depth. You're following from Aegon the Conqueror up to, this one is volume 1, so it goes up to the Dance of Dragons, and like just after the Dance of Dragons. Like, this isn't like a plot. Like, I mean, it's a plot, but it's literally, it reads like a history book. Like, this happened and then this happened, and it's like accounts from like grandmaesters and people who were in the courts and wrote about it, and they're like, it's as if a grandmaester is writing this book and pulling from all these sources and saying, this is what happened and this is what happened. So yeah, as you can see, I enjoyed it. And on my 1 to 10, I gave this 8.16, which is 4.5 Pusheenicorns. I couldn't quite give it 5, simply, I don't know why. Because it's not like a novel, I don't know. Oh, it is a novel. Like, it's a novel. It's made up fucking lands. So I don't know why. Sometimes sometimes there's parts where, like, none of this actually is important. Like, I love it, but also sometimes you're like, okay, it's a little tedious. But I read through it way faster than I thought. Like, I thought it was going to take me literally the entire month. But I finished it on the 15th. Which is pretty awesome. And then I read The Afterlife of Holly Chase. And I just finished this last night also, late on the 15th. And I wanted to read this last year, but I just didn't get around to it for whatever reason. But I heard all the good things about it. I, for some reason, thought this was contemporary. Like, I did not pay attention. It's called The Afterlife of Holly Chase, but I thought it was just like a cute name or something. I don't know. I didn't pay attention when people were talking about like the synopsis, apparently, because I had no idea that there's like paranormal kind of stuff involved. But basically, we're following Holly Chase, who was a Scrooge. You know, she just is a rich, bratty person, and she's mean and whatever. And she is part of Project Scrooge, which is like a company that every year finds a Scrooge to like rehabilitate and make them better, right? And they do the whole Christmas Carol thing with this person, but it's very orchestrated. And she's the Scrooge. She fails, she dies, and now she's working for Project Scrooge. And that's all in the like dust jacket, like synopsis. And yeah, we go from there. So obviously there's a little paranormal because like she dead, but she not dead. But it was really fun. I liked it a lot. It's not like one of my favorite books ever or anything like that, but I enjoyed it. On my 1 to 10, I gave this 6.83, which is 3.5 Pusheenicorns. And so for the Very Merry Readathon, I only completed 2 books in total, The Afterlife of Holly Chase and The Mitten. I completed Fire and Blood during, but I didn't read the whole book during. I read about 400 pages or so of Fire and Blood during the Very Merry Readathon. And I was going to do the magical Readathon, the like Harry Potter one that Book Roast is orchestrating. Like I had every intention, I made my TBR, but I'm traveling, like it starts tomorrow and it goes until right after Christmas, I think. But I'm going out of town on Friday, so like I would only have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to really read, and I am gonna be kind of busy packing and planning and all the things. So I just know I won't read much of anything. And then while I'm traveling, I'm not trying to like lug a bunch of books with me, and I don't have any of them on ebook. It's just a thing. So I'm just not gonna do it. And okay, that is all for my recent wrap up and my Readathons wrap up. I just wanted to combine all of these and my Pusheenicorn Pick wrap up. I'm just combining all of the wrap-ups because I don't feel like making individual videos for all of them. Am I lazy? Maybe. As always, I appreciate your time, you guys. Let me know in the comments if you participated in any readathons recently, how you did, if you enjoyed it, all that fun stuff. And if you've read any of these books and have opinions that you want to share them down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.